Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another video. It's your host, Rising Oblivion. Today, guys, I wanted to talk about this brand new Persona versus card game. So this is kind of an interesting card game. I'm gonna go over the logistics of it and everything, but the cool thing about this is Persona 3, 4, and 5 related. So it's not just a Persona 5 game. It includes a lot of the characters from 3, a lot of the characters from 4, and from 5 itself. There's multiple packs depending on which Persona game you're talking about, and there's some other little things that you can have within this game that I think is going to be pretty cool, especially for any like major Persona like person who just really likes to play Persona games. This is definitely right up your alley. However, I do think a lot of it's in Japanese. We're going to see if there's an English release here soon, but still it's pretty cool to think about and easily could be something that we get later on. Now this is something to commemorate the 25th anniversary of the Persona series. We never had any of this talked about or really anything, but this is it, the Persona versus card game. So it says here that this card game is a 2-player card game, a 15-minute time, and it's up to 15 age plus, which means basically anybody above the age of 15 can play it, but I think that's probably just, you know, obviously just a preference. I think anybody can really play this 2-player, 15 minutes, which isn't too bad. And it does say that this is a physical card game, so it's not something that's going to be online, although I think having this online would be kind of cool as well. I think online games and whatnot in general, especially for like card games, a lot of people play Uno online, like Monopoly online. A lot of people are just kind of playing that stuff online, which is, you know, pretty easy to get a hold of, and you can do it across the web, especially with things going on nowadays. You don't really get to play a lot of physical games in front of other people, so that's kind of cool. So reservations begin on this October 12th, so it's already happening, and discounted pre-orders are on the Banzo store. So if you wanted to maybe import them or something like that, you could get them on the Banzo stores. So this is actually called the Persona Versus, which I think has to do with like the line of the card manufacturers, people who make this stuff. They have like the verses at the end of it, so this is going to be called Persona Versus and is set to release on December 2021. So that's kind of what we know in terms of those details. Moving on to some other stuff here is we actually have a picture that shows all of the P3, P4, and P5 like assistant attendants when it comes to the Velvet Room. We have the twins, and then the characters from P3, Margaret, and or P4, Margaret, and I forget the chick, and Elizabeth, I think, in P3. So we have P3, P4, and P5's assistant, which is pretty dope as well. And I think you have other things like having demons and whatnot that you can have sitting beside you. I'm going to show another picture on screen so you can kind of see that. So what it looks like is you choose one of the main characters from either Persona 3, 4, or 5 to begin the game. The Persona card summoned by the protagonist has 2 abilities which are activated at the times to give the player an advantage in battle, and skills which are used to attack the opponent. Then Persona's allied Persona cards help the player in with support abilities, which can be used for powerful effects such as react abilities and counter opponent skills. If you quickly reduce your opponent's HP to 0 by combining these abilities, you win, and the winner receives a epilogue depending on their hero. And I'll put on screen there a picture of a bunch of the different cards. It looks like we have like Margaret, we have Elizabeth there, we have Alice, even Morgana, Chie's on there, the twins. Pretty cool here, and of course Teddy. We got Pixie as well. We got a bunch of cool stuff here. Arsen, Izanagi, a lot of cool stuff on here. We have a bunch of the main staples when it comes to, you know, the Persona, you know, universe and demons and whatnot. That's all there. So this seems pretty cool. It seems like a pretty interesting game here. We have abilities, skills, and support abilities, and apparently reaction abilities and counter your opponent and whatnot. So you might have like certain things like trap cards and stuff, which is kind of interesting. I don't know how it's going to work, but let's keep moving on here with how the game's actually played. So you can reproduce the charm of the Persona series. In commemoration of the 25th anniversary of the Persona series, this game has created with a completely original story, apparently, with a game system to reproduce these charms. Not only are the Personas with unique abilities, but you get an additional 1 more attacks are incorporated, which occur when the opponent's weaknesses are struck. This is also, there's also Persona Change, which allows the changes of the Persona used by the one strategy, and the Persona Fusion, which allows you to combine Personas to create even more powerful ones. So weirdly enough, in a card game, we have Persona Fusions, Persona Changes, and One Mores, which is pretty cool when you attack during the weakness. So, moving on to or I guess I'll just have the same card screen up here. It looks like you actually can see the weaknesses at the top right corners and sort of the bottom left corners of not the character cards, but on the actual like demons themselves, or personas, I guess you could say. On the actual persona themselves, you can actually see that there's a little symbol there. I think that sort of marks what sort of element they are, and you could strike those types of weaknesses and whatnot. So that's kind of interesting. I think most of the player cards are going to be more supports or ability based, or something like that is what they're actually going to be doing. It's in Japanese, so I can't tell exactly what it is. It could translate it, but there's a bunch of cards there, but I think that's what's kind of going on there. The demons have certain abilities and things that they could do, and the actual like characters that you see within Persona are actually going to be the ones that you sort of have on your team to do other things like support and stuff like that. But let's move on over to another thing that says here. So it says it's easy to play in pre-built decks or any combination. Pre-built decks are prepared for each protagonist. So those who are not familiar with the card games and those who are new to playing the card can immediately enjoy it. Anyone can start playing immediately by looking at the card summary. Once you get used to the game, you can freely swap cards, choose their favorite personas and characters, and build your own deck to play. Alright, let's move on over to pricing and stuff like that, and the amount of decks. So an interesting thing here is this is not like leaning super heavy on being just about P5, which a lot of times like the new figures and stuff like that, I feel like they lean super heavy on just like pushing P5 content, but no, this is kind of cool. We get a lot of love for P3 and P4 as well. So apparently there's going to be 40 decks for each Persona game. So Persona 3 has 40 decks, Persona 4 has 40 decks, and Persona 5 has 40 decks, which is pretty cool. I'm not sure how many cards are within a deck, but that's pretty cool. So the contents you get for this game is 3 player cards. Persona 5, like I said, they have each of the 40 different decks for those. 2x2 summary cards and 1 manual also comes with the game. And of course you get a bunch of cards for P3, P4, and P5, which is kind of cool. And I'm glad that they kind of did this. At least, you know, each of the games is kind of getting the love that it deserves. It's not just super heavily like P5 stuff. I would hate for it to just be like super P5 related. And the price for this is 2,970 yen with tax included, so it's like $30 if you sort of bring that over to USD. So $70 or $30 isn't too bad. However, I'm not sure exactly how it's going to be when it comes to actually getting a hold of this, or where you can get a hold of this. From my thinking is I think this is just Japan, and maybe in the future they could bring this to the West or something like that, but I'm not 100% sure. What might end up happening is somebody could try and do some sort of mod for this and maybe get these cards translated so it can be played. I really want to play something like this. I think this is a great idea for Persona players, and I think if they added this game to like some type of online mode or something like that, or you can buy like the game for like 15-20 bucks or something like that, and maybe they can have sort of microtransaction-y kind of things to buy card decks and stuff like that, similar to what Uno currently does. You can buy Uno, but you can get different packs for just a couple dollars, which isn't too bad. All in all, it's not too bad. I don't know, my little kid version of myself is thinking of these as being like Pokemon cards, like certain ones are rare and whatnot, but no, it's not really based on certain characters or things are rare. It's really just going to be a game where you just sort of battle. I don't think they're trying to go the Pokemon route with this. If they do, then I mean, that's not too bad, but who knows? It looks like this is releasing late December 2021, so we'll have a little while to actually see here. There's not a specific date on this. You can pre-order it, but like I said, I'm not sure how that all is going to go. You're going to have to import it probably, get it from Japan, and if they do release this in the future over in the West and whatnot, I will be sure to keep you up to date on all things regarding that. So please subscribe to the channel, click the bell to be notified when I go live again and whatnot. Like the video for me if you could, and of course I will see you all in the next video. Thank you all so much for watching.